Hello everyone, and welcome to Divine Debut. How are you all? This is Kathy speaking. This is your Astro update. So let's quickly have a look at how the stars are, the planets are relating to each other and how they affect us here on the Earth. Okay, so 15th of December 2021. Let's talk a little bit at a couple of things that have happened recently, which I have not mentioned since doing my last Astro update. So what's really important around the 15th, and I've mentioned that coming up to the 15th, it's not going to be an easy time. A lot is going on astrologically that is showing that. We know that, generally speaking, and those that are on Patreon following me there, supporting me there, you get to look at all the transits, all the planetary alignments in the whole month of December. Those of you that are on Tier 3, you get to see that. So you get to know what the details are all about. But let's just say that up until the 15th today, which is still a very difficult day, coming up to the 15th has been very difficult. We've also got, coming up to Christmas, the exact square once more with Saturn through Aquarius squaring over to Uranus, which is something that's been going on for the whole year. So this is another exact square, and a square is never easy. So we know Saturn speaks to, things that, or situations, or bodies, or people that limit our growth, that limit a sense of freedom, which is Uranus. Uranus in Taurus, and Taurus speaks to a fixed earth. So this is something that we don't feel comfortable in making these changes. What does Taurus mean? It speaks to our money, it speaks to our values, it speaks to our physical body, what the earth provides to us, so our food. There's been a lot of hardship concerning new ways of doing things, the ability to move forward, to feel a sense of freedom. Uranus can also speak to people, so the human race, let's say, and with what's been going on in the world, we know it's been tough. And it's getting tougher. They're telling us to restrain even more, to hold back, to, we feel a sense of, our air being blocked, our airways being blocked, or they're asking us to, if this is metaphorically speaking now, either to not provide to ourselves, either it's a sense of freedom or what we put in our bodies, or how we nurture ourselves, how we take oxygen in or not. And oxygen can be spoken to in a metaphorical or a literal way in this situation. So Uranus is, I need my freedom. This is the right side of the brain, Uranus, right? So having that higher perspective, an intelligent way to work with these energies. So Saturn being the old, the restrictive, the limiting, the governments, the boss, that toxic relationship, that strict parent or strict teacher is Saturn. It's the government bodies, it's the politicians, it's whoever is in a position of leadership. Capricorn, which is it's cardinal earth. Capricorn has got a lot of leadership within the archetype of Capricorn, and remember, Saturn is the main ruling planet of Capricorn. Now, Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, but Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. So therefore, there is strength in Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn is also the lord of karma and timing. So it's all about timing. It's all about working through karma. finding new ways, Uranus, of being able to break free from what this tightrope is. What is this restricting, needing to turn a corner square? What is it all about? Uranus is not strong in Taurus, but Uranus, remember, in mythology was the father of Kronos, Saturn. So these two, Uranus in mythology and Saturn, were tied up or tied into a karmic cycle where, you know, because Uranus was known to be a very difficult father, very restricting to his son Saturn. So Saturn found a way to revolt against this narcissistic leader, father, whatever you want to call it. Saturn was all about, because it rules Capricorn, there is leadership within Saturn, but it's also, Saturn is also limiting, or it rules traditions. So doing things in a certain way, I feel that Saturn, the positive of Uranus and Saturn connecting, means finding new ways of doing things, keeping though part of the old and normal ways of doing things. So not doing anything that, not just looking into science, which is Uranus, holding on to some of those tried and tested ways of doing things. So this is the art of trying to discriminate. How much of Saturn do I keep? How much of the tradition do I keep? You know, trialed and ways that used to work for me, and how much new ways, scientific breakthroughs, new technology, new ways of communicating, new ways of finding ways to free myself from anything that was very challenging, dark, again, karmic, I'm going to say, which is Saturn. How do we do this? This is us mastering this square between Uranus and Saturn. So there are heavy restrictions, literally, on humanity at this time, because of science, because of intelligence, higher intelligence. And going back to the mythology, Saturn did find a way to overthrow his father and take the throne off him, but then that history repeated itself, and Jupiter, the son of Saturn, came to repeat the karmic cycle between father and son. So we know, looking back in history, that history always repeats itself, and there are reasons why this happens. Now, if we're looking at Jupiter still in Aquarius, who is preparing to leave the sign of Aquarius at the end of the year and ingress into Pisces, which Jupiter is expansion, growth, optimism, again, truth, a sense of freedom. This is my truth. This is me wanting to go on an adventure. I want to discover. And through these hardships, these literal hardships, everyone, I feel that humanity is awaking to know that we are not just physical beings, we are also godly beings. We've got that higher self. So, you know, that we can, you know, we've got the ability to connect to the ethers, to the gods, to spirit, to the divine. And I feel that people, through these challenges, these challenging times, have started to know that we are not just what you see is what you get. There's more to us. We've got higher abilities, higher intelligence abilities within us, and we need to be able to trust in that. But just, and in relation to Uranus being an outer planet, further out in our solar system than what Saturn is, I would say that Uranus wins in the end. So maybe this will be the cutting of that cord, that umbilical cord, or those restrictive energies or that karmic cycle that began with Uranus and his son Kronos, which and with Jupiter entering Pisces, which is very spiritual. Yes, Pisces can also speak to confusion, illusion, deception. Neptune is also in Pisces, so that we're very clouded about what is the truth. You know, Neptune does rule deception, mainstream media, the news, what we've been told. Neptune also speaks to a form of escapism, medicines, a feeling of, you know, we feel prison. We're in a prison. We're in a prison cell. We're in a, we're just about, we're at a breaking point, ready to enter a psychiatric ward. We're losing it. We feel as though we're losing it. But it's up to us to hold it together. Jupiter comes to our service, comes to save the day. Jupiter will give us the ability to know that we are connected to the divine. We are also blessed from the divine. And remember that Neptune being medicines and alcoholism and everything like that, anything that we are using now, any substances that we are using, we need to retract from and know that this is not a form, this is not a way to escape a situation. We need to be able to take off that blindfold and look at the truth, to dare to have the courage to believe that we are guided at this time and we are being looked after, and no challenges are, you know, something that we cannot overcome. Okay, that is what we need to hold on to. Neptune is also what we imagine we can create, and that is unconditional love coming through to humanity, to the human race, to the people in front of us, behind us, in opposition to us. Let's not get segregated. Let's not, even if we may have different ideals, different ideas, let's all come together and know that we are all one. We need to stand together. We need to provide that support, that love, that unconditional love to each other at this time, because people do need this. Now, I'm going to say also with the nodes, preparing at the end of the year, early in January, I should say, to swap. So North Node will ingress into Taurus and the South Node into Scorpio. The energies will shift greatly. Remember that Gemini is the twins. It's me making a decision between two things. I need to clarify. I need to communicate. I need to research. I need to know that the person next to me is like a mirroring image of me. What I give to them, they will give back to me. We are twins. We are brothers and sisters. But we need to, and we've been students, we've been learning, we've been reading, we've been communicating, and we've been needing to get uncomfortable and make a decision for ourselves and for the people that we are responsible for, whether it be our children, whether it be our partners. And remember that we are all sovereign, free people. And when we give our sovereignty away, it is never given back to us. We know that we were born free and we will live free. Now, with the South Node in Sagittarius, this is our beliefs that have been challenged greatly. But this too is ending. Remember, Sagittarius also rules politics. It rules the truth. It is Jupiterian. Sagittarius is Jupiterian. It's freedom. It's adventurous. It's having that higher perspective, again, spirituality, growing spiritually and not holding on to those dogmatic beliefs, even if it's something that we grew up to believe, be open and try and see things from a higher perspective. It's a time of us growing and becoming teachers through learning. Many of us are growing more spiritually. We're becoming the elder, the wiser. You know, Sagittarius is our philosophies. Maybe it's time to listen to the elder and the wiser, those that are already, they've got a grey beard, they've grown, you know, they've got grey hair. Maybe it's a time to listen to those that are wiser. And I'm talking to the younger generation. Maybe it's time to, because back in the days, the youth, the younger generations would always be open to the philosophy of the elder generation. These days, I'm afraid to say it's the opposite. Anyway, so the nodes are changing. The South Node being very, very karmic indeed. This is something that we're needing to shed, let go of. The South Node is moving into Scorpio. Scorpio is the serpent. It's the poison. It's the elixir. It's the forbidden fruit. Something that is forbidden we need to let go of. Is it fears? Scorpio. Is it poisons? Scorpio. Is it secrecy? Scorpio. And the North Node will move into Taurus. Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Remember, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. And Mars has been moving through Scorpio, doing the work, going deep. Pluto rules Scorpio, which Pluto is now in Capricorn. It has been since 2008. Now, Mars has ingressed into Sagittarius, so it likes being in a fire sign, but it's on the South Node. It's on the South Node, so we're still dealing with those, you know, those matters that we're needing to let go of, those ideas, those beliefs, whatever has kept us blindfolded. It's time to have the courage, which is Mars. Be the warrior. Move towards what it is you desire. Expand, grow. Mars in Sagittarius, it's comfortable there. It's fire. It's courage, it's desire, it's, you know, it's what I want to work, what I'm working on. It's what I want to produce. Now, Mars can be very triggering as well. It can be very cutting. It could be very challenging, as it will be on the South Node, and it is on the South Node. So there's frustration because we are dealing with difficult karmic matters going on right now on a collective scale as well as on a personal scale for each of us, because we've all got Sagittarius somewhere in our chart. Now, I was talking about, you know, Taurus being Venus ruled. And Venus speaks to our money, it speaks to what it is that we love, it's love relationships, romance, it's those five senses, it's the physical body, it's what we intake, what we give our body to love and nurture it, what the earth provides to us, because we are seeds that have been planted and have grown and are still growing. Our soul's cycle in this incarnation, our soul's growth, we need to keep providing, to keep nurturing. We need that Venusian love, nurturing, providing, food, money, resources is Taurus. Now Venus, which also rules Libra, and Libra is relationships, right? It's justice. Has there been harmony or balance in your relationships? Has there been justice in the world between us and the others? Venus has been moving through Capricorn. She's just passed over Pluto. This is a maturing, sobering, uphill battle that we are going through. Venus will be retrograding on the 19th on the full moon in Gemini, which I'll be also doing another video for those of you that are on Patreon. Even on tier 2, you get to see the new moons and the full moons. And I've done the Venus retrograde also, video on Patreon. For those that do not know that, do consider joining us on Patreon. There's a lot that you're missing out on. Anyway, so Venus has been transiting through Capricorn, and she'll be in Capricorn for about 4 months, which is a very long stay because she's retrograding here now. 4 days ago, she passed over Pluto. She touched Pluto. And Pluto also is a very controlling, powerful, deadly energy. Pluto speaks to the phoenix rising up from its ashes. Pluto in Capricorns can speak to those, to the patriarchy that we've been ruled by for many, many thousands of years. Pluto is also riches. It rules money, abundance. It rules a plethora of matters, plethora, plethos, which means the populations, people, the masses. So Venus, having touched on Pluto, first meeting, she's passed over Pluto, and now she, at the 27th degree, she's going to station. She's practically stopped. She's preparing to retrograde. She will connect again with Pluto in a couple of weeks, and she'll be retrograde, obviously, and she's going to be going all the way back to the 11th degree of Capricorn. So those of you that have got 11 degrees Capricorn, or even if you're a Taurus or a Virgo, the earth signs, from 11 till the 27th degree roughly, if you've got special points, so important points in the chart, in your natal chart, or planets, or anything like that, or your rising sign at those degrees, it will be very important for you. Now, obviously, we go into the very small details, very fine details on Patreon. So if you need more information on that, do consider joining us. But it will not be an easy time for love relationships. It's as though we are the hermits. We're in a solitude. We're doing our homework. We're growing through dealing with old matters concerning anything it is that we value, love connections. People are coming back from the past, love relationships. Maybe it's a time of having, a second chance to redo things. Retrogrades are all about that. Now, Venus is doing a very important cycle now. January 8th will be a very, very significant day for Venus, which she'll be sort of referring back to either a 4-year period. So 4 years back, look at 4 years. Where were you? What was going on in matters of love and money? 4 years back and 8 years back, what was going on for you? Because she's sort of in the area that she was again back, a few years ago. So she's revisiting a same sort of a situation that she's dealt with in the past. What was going on for you back then? Where is Capricorn for you in your own natal chart? This could give you maybe an idea of what could be happening anyway. So Mercury has just ingressed into Capricorn as well. Mercury does rule children. It rules anything to do with, if you think of the archetype of Virgo, because Mercury rules Virgo as well as Gemini. Gemini is very youthful, like it's communicating. Remember, this is the messenger of the gods. It does rule short distance travel. It also rules any form of commerce, doing business, right? And Capricorn is the natural 10th house of career and your goals and aspirations. So it also rules Virgo, which Virgo can be very discerning, can be discriminative. Virgo rules health as well, so Mercury can speak to health matters. And Mercury can also be very youthful. It can speak to children. So Mercury in Capricorn is like a sense of growth. So important conversations, communicating in a very mature way, in a very grounded way. So a few days ago, we had Mercury sextiling over to Jupiter. Remember that Mercury rules the left brain. Let's go back and just see that for a moment. Wow, okay. We can see the sextile here. So Mercury, before Mercury, that's really interesting here, because before Mercury left the sign of Sagittarius, remember Mercury is also a student, and it was transiting through the sign of Sag, which is the teacher. And Mercury was on the galactic center point at the 27th, 28th degree. So it sextiled over to Jupiter, which Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? So this is a sharing of information, or maybe even some news coming through from spirit, from the divine, something magical coming through. Remember that sextiles are helpful energies, but we need to actually take that information and run with it so we can bring something into fruition. So the divine help was there. What did we do with it is the thing, because the student connects to the teacher, and the teacher, Sagittarius, is in the house of freedom, in the house of wishes and dreams. Aquarius, remember, is naturally the 11th house. So it rules friendships, wishes, dreams, large groups of people, social media. So maybe you received some information, some form of clarification that was divine. Connected to, we've got Aquarius and Sag, both signs of freedom. The freedom of speech, the freedom of thought, the freedom of movement. And remember that Aquarius also rules aviation, the skies, Uranus, right? And Sagittarius is adventure, it's long distance travel. So it'll be interesting to hear what happened or what's going on concerning matters such as these, and also matters of schooling. Remember the student and the teacher. After that, we had the Sun squaring over to Neptune, so a lot of confusion. There's the Sun squaring over to Neptune. A lot of illusion, a lot of deception. So that's, the Sun is trying to break through the clouds of Neptune. Neptune can be very deceiving, could be anything to do with mainstream media, the news, something that we've imagined. Maybe we are deceiving ourselves, or the deception is coming from elsewhere. Again, we're needing to do something. We're needing to take a stance, because the Sun is also ego. It's our ego, it's our identity. Let's not lose our identity. We are sovereign, free human beings, okay? Let's not use any forms of escapism, try and drown ourselves out using either any substances that will sort of, instead of clearing the air, it will confuse you even more. Let's have the courage to take off those rose-colored glasses and see what the deception is. What is the truth? Okay, if we can see through the truth. Let's look at our heart. The Sun rules the heart. It's Leo. Let's take leadership. Okay, because amongst a big crowd, let's say, Pisces is unconditional love, but it's also deception. We are all one. But we need someone to take charge and be in a position of leadership and act through the heart, act through generosity. The Sun is also healing anything that was very challenging. Also, I'd like to also mention that Mercury also was in a difficult connection to the North Node. Let's see, Mercury's here. Can you see this in conjunction? Something needs to be tweaked here concerning getting uncomfortable and moving towards the North Node. And remember that Mercury was at the critical degree, 29 degrees before it left Sagittarius. And remember, this is the axis of the North and South Node. So have we done our homework so that we are able to know that we can go on that adventure? Because there's a sense of optimism, of course. Sagittarius is very optimistic. But remember, we also had an eclipse, a new moon, but we're still not out of the woods yet. Why? Because Mars is going to pass over the South Node now, deal with those old matters, shed whatever has run its course and ended in our lives, and then Mars will come up to the 12th degree, and this will be happening at the end of the year, everyone, because it's going to sort of trigger that solar eclipse, which happened on the 4th of December, right? So as I was saying, just before Christmas, we're having that exact square between Saturn and Uranus. But then on the 29th, going on to the 30th of December, we're going to have Jupiter ingress into Pisces. So if you think back in mid-May till end of July, there was a sense of freedom and a Jupiterian optimistic ability to expand and connect spiritually to the divine and feel a sense of unconditional love for the world, for the people, for life. As Jupiter is very strong in Pisces, and Jupiter will be revisiting that moment of mid-May and all the way up until July of 2021. What was going on for you back then in your own country? We'll be revisiting that. So I do feel that there's quite a few challenges still, even heading into January, but things will start to change because Venus, of course, will be retrograde all January, and then Mercury will sort of prepare to also retrograde, January going into February. So there'll be a lot of forward momentum come January, but we've also got some good aspects. Christmas Day is a pretty good day, but I will come back with more information on that. Now, Venus will be retrograding in 4 days. Everyone, again, join me on Patreon. I do mention those who are more affected by Venus's retrograde. Also, in about 4 days, so let's just move forward and let's watch Venus here as she is preparing to retrograde. You could see that little sign, she's retrograding. So on the 19th going on to the 20th, she is retrograding, and Chiron also has turned direct round about at the same time. And Chiron in Aries, remember that Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is still preparing to come up to trigger that new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which for me, this is like the ending point, sort of the last moment of what did South Node in Sag and North Node in Gemini mean for you. The nodes, we know, stay in a particular axis for about 18 months. So this is the ending of that. What changed for you in your life? Where is Sagittarius and Gemini in your own personal chart? That's what you need to think of. And I feel that that's what will be very important. That's what we'll be seeing nevertheless. But going back to Mars, remember that in Sagittarius, as it is strong here and it's quite powerful. Mars is sort of coming up to, he's trying to catch up. He wants to meet up with Venus, right? So there's a sense of freeing energies here and very powerful new beginnings and letting go, eclipsing from our lives. What ran its course, what was karmic, what does not work for us anymore. So Chiron being that wound, that open wound. And you know, Sagittarius is a centaur, and there are connections concerning the centaur Sagittarius and Chiron, who was also a centaur. It's practically the same deity. So there can be a solution now to this open wound. We can find a way to work with a wound, a psychological or physical wound. The wound could be to the head, which is Aries. Aries is the head. It rules our head, our mind. Our brain is in our head, right? Hopefully. So this could be a solution, because this is a beautiful trine as Chiron moves direct, as I said, on the same day that Venus turns retrograde. And she is on Pluto. This is powerful. Okay? And as you could see on the day, 20th of December, we've got Mercury in a beautiful trine over to Uranus. This is the left brain of logic and the right brain of the ethereal mind. So this is divine help coming into balance. This is great intelligence, everyone. And it's connected to the moon, and we know the moon moves quickly. So that's not so something that we'll get stuck on, but yes, this is very powerful. Also, Pluto and obviously Venus are still connected through a trine to, us getting uncomfortable, making those important decisions to be able to move forward. Okay, and straight after that, we've got the Sun sextiling over to Jupiter. As you can see, this is a beautiful, absolutely sextile. The energies are wonderful. So Sagittarius again and Aquarius, which relate to freedom, politics, truth, communication, wishes and dreams, hoping to expand through intelligent ways of expanding, finding scientific, ingenious ways to do things differently. And remember that Jupiter is coming up to the critical degree of the 29th degree. And the sun has just passed over the galactic center point. So that is really, really impressive. Now, sextile is the energy, the divine help is there. What are you going to do with it? That's the thing. Okay? All right. And then we are up to, obviously, the 21st, which is when the sun will ingress into Capricorn. A very, very important day. I will come back and talk to you about that. Obviously, a change of seasons, right? The solstice. So we'll be back to talk more concerning the astrology, everyone. I think I will leave it there, and I will be back in about a week for another update for all of you. Okay, let's go back to the now before I end this reading. Remember that the moon in Taurus is very happy, loves to be there, but also a conjunction on Uranus can be quite stressful. It does tie in with today's message, the mercurial message, that the messenger of the gods says to us today that there can be some stress, anxiety, but also excitement. Okay, you may want to watch today's daily upload. You've got a message as we go through the energies, we read the energies. Lastly, before I go, this T-square here is quite long-standing. This is a pressure building, and it's connected to, obviously, Mars, which can speak to aggression as well. It can speak to force. Mars rules the army. It rules the soldier. It rules the warrior who is dealing with karmic old chapters, and it's in opposition. Obviously, the nodes obviously are in opposition to each other, but there are opposing forces here, and these squares connecting to Jupiter. Jupiter is the truth, it's adventure, it's that vision of the future, of the world. It's the way to expand through acts of a sense of togetherness, bringing people together. Remember, Jupiter expands, it's optimistic, it brings large groups of people, it brings the people, it puts people in opposition to the governments. Remember, Saturn is here breathing down the neck of Jupiter, but Jupiter has he's already proven himself, Zeus, in mythology, that he was able to overcome the limitations, restrictions, and darkness of Saturn. So he won the war with his father, or the person that was above him, who fed him with much fear. He wanted to stay in control, and there's a lot of controlling energies going on in the world now. But Jupiter, the god of wisdom, right? He rules leadership. Remember, he was the god of all gods, the king of the gods. And he also brought the light. He brought the intelligence. What is the light? The light and fire speaks to life. It speaks to the ability to survive. The light speaks to, the light of the mind, wisdom. That's why he rules philosophy and teaches. So he brought the light to the world, to humanity. Looking forward to Jupiter entering Pisces. We know that our religion, our beliefs have also been challenged very greatly. This is more about humanity growing spiritually and seeing what the truth is, because we even see leaders within certain churches being on the dark, being with a dark force, which is very Saturnian. But you know what, everyone? The masks are falling off. We are seeing the truth. We are seeing who everyone is. So with and through the truth, we know who are our enemies, who are the people that do not want what is good for us. So therefore, we will deal with those in a proper way, in the necessary way. Now, we always come from a place of love. We detach and we let go. Where there is darkness, where there is evil, we detach and we break away. We stand in our light, we stand in our truth, we stand in love, and we stand in togetherness. And I will leave you with that. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for following me, for being here. Love to you always. And remember that the power of the truth is the power of life. Ta-da. Talk to you soon.